Welcome everybody. I'm really excited about this event because honestly, I did the least in the room to get this event organized and prepared. So, Barry and G and Emily and Ashley and Kiwi and who am I missing? Who am I missing on the team? Anyway, a lot of folks that worked really hard to put this together. And I think that, as I mentioned on my video post yesterday, we were a little bit prescient in our vision of, hey, we don't all have to get on an airplane and fly to a hotel and totally disrupt our lives for 5 days. We could make believe we are going to a conference and do it virtually. I think the challenging thing is when you don't actually leave and go to Vegas or Phoenix or LA for a conference, then it's hard to kind of shut out the noise. So I think this, like, we're in practice mode, and I think we'll talk about that. But I think that, think about the time you save in terms of that travel time there and that travel time back, right? And you're stuck out there. So while it may seem like this is a royal pain to be locked in on this webinar all day and a lot of tomorrow, compare it to if you actually had to go to a live event right now. And especially with all the health concerns going on out there, that's not something that anyone really wants to do anyway. So we will continue. I think we've had a really strong, the strongest start ever to our virtual world. We've done webinars. We used to struggle with just doing one webinar a month, right? And we're doing multiple webinars now every single month. We have a client success spotlight now scheduled all the way through August. We've got a superstar client killing it on Ylopo who's going to teach every single month going all the way out through August. And by the way, if you're on the webinar right now and you are crushing it with Ylopo, private Facebook message me, private Facebook message Barry, Kiwi, or G. Let us know that you'd also like to be, spotlighted as well, because we'd love to share what you're doing. So, without, further ado, I am going to introduce Dr. Barry Jenkins, our head realtor in residence. And we just increased our realtor in residence staff by a third by adding Livia, who will be on our Ylopo Academy Live as well. And like to introduce my partner in crime, Jufeng G Money, Dr. Barry J, and G Money. I will let you guys take it from here.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. We're going to dive right into the content and just kind of out of the gate. I'm sorry, I'm bobbing and weaving. I just had a huge Red Bull, I'm on my standing desk. I'm just getting the blood circulating. But today we're doing a 2-day session, right? And the primary reason is because we wanted to separate out what is the agent's perspective on, what is the Ylopo system? How does it all work? And what admins are responsible for, right? So today we're going to go over it from the agent's perspective. Tomorrow we're going to go over it from an admin perspective. What I'll say is, I think people who are paying money for this system should attend both. So congrats to everyone that's already here, taking 2 days out of your life to be with us today. We have an action-packed agenda. And I'd say 2 other things is, one, for anyone who is coming here who is currently in setup, this is going to be a phenomenal training for you. You're going to get a deep dive from the principles of the business on, how everything works, right? But what I will say is, you really don't know how the system is going to work until the day that you go live, because that's when the action happens, right? You're going to get text messages from consumers. Raya's going to start working for you. You're going to get new leads. We're going to remarket to your database, and it's going to be a fire hose of content. You're going to learn a lot about what it means today, but you really have no idea what it's going to be like until you go live, right? And it's for that reason that from a training perspective, we like to wait until you are live to start doing the training, because you need to know what everything looks like before we start training you, right? So I highly encourage for anyone who is in setup, ready to go, and is holding back because they are, waiting for content and all this kind of stuff, just go live. We provide great training, including, for instance, this 2-day conference, virtual conference. But a lot of that information you're not going to understand once you go live. And I think if you go on YC, do a post, everyone's going to tell you the same. The second thing is, this is what we hope to be the first of many Ylopo Academy lives. And this is the first time we're doing it, right? So we would love feedback from you guys about what works, what didn't work, what additional content you'd like to see, and so please give us that feedback. Email it to support@ylopo.com so that we can kind of see it. We can get it sent to our, from our team to us. Barry, should I give out your email address for feedback, or let's just run it through support? I think run it through support, right?
Well, look.
Can I give everyone your cell phone number as well?
That's my joke against you. You're using my joke on me. This is horrible. What world am I in right now?
That's why I started, right? Yeah. So Barry, anything before we get started here?
Yeah. So I've been an agent for 20 years, and last year my team sold about 900 homes, and I want you guys to know that the way that Ylopo approaches lead generation, database building, marketing, all the things that are important to us, they actually are different. What's going to occur if you utilize the system the way that we teach you over the next 2 days, you are going to be a participant in growing your business, not just deep, but also wide, which means you're going to reach more people. But it is going to require that you learn something new. The old expression, give a man a fish, he eats for the day, teach a man to fish, he can feed himself the rest of his life. And what's going to happen is we're going to provide you with opportunity through Ylopo, both new leads, branding, and everything in between. And I'm telling you guys right now, if you learn how to use the system, if you learn how to cast the reel, so to speak, to use a fishing analogy, you're going to make not only a lot of money, but the money will consistently go on over time, no matter what happens with Zillow and Trulia and all these other companies. So just stay dialed in and stay focused.
And
that's all I got.
As a testament to that, which is if you really dig in and learn the system, I mean, I'm always going to start off every summit, every webinar by saying some of our most successful clients right now are literally clients who in the beginning canceled with us. Right? They canceled with us, and then they sort of tried other things, and they were like even worse, or they came back, or I challenged them and knew that they weren't following up on leads, all that kind of stuff. And now, one of them just became a realtor in residence, like Levia, right? RG is crushing it. But I just got 2 texts yesterday, like just yesterday. One was from Grant Johnson. He said, last year we sold 125 homes. Year to date, we're just only 2 months in. They've sold 61 homes. He said, for your information, it looks like we could hit 100 Ylopo deals by end of year. Not Ylopo touched and nurtured, which is a lot bigger, just pure Ylopo generated 100 deals. And we got a Facebook message from Mike Novak yesterday saying that his cost, you remember what it was, the Facebook message? Basically,
yeah, it's cost per close deal.
Yeah, his cost per close is the least for Ylopo leads than for any other source. He called out Realtor.com, everything else. And he's basically, I think it was like $568 per close is what he spends on Ylopo. And would you spend $568 per close? Of course you would. It's a no-brainer. So, but it takes hard work, man. It takes time. If you're here, right, let's get rolling. If you're here, this is what it's all about, okay? And this is why we're going to do these webinars every single month. And, we pray that the world will be right again in the fall when we have 1,000 people all together, for the summit. So having said that, that you can do it. Let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, so let's get started here. The first thing I want to just call out very briefly, this is for admins, but we have sent out this report at the beginning of day to all of the admins for all of the teams on our platform. This is what we call our Ylopo Client Health Report. What we've done here is we have aggregated together all of the stats that are important for you to know about what Ylopo is doing for you, and also all of the different Ylopo tools that are out there that you're either using or not using, right? So this is a great guiding tool for teams to look at, to understand what are the features that that you're not taking advantage of that could produce more ROI for you within our system, right? We have gone ahead and even graded how well you are doing from a marketing perspective about getting your database import into our system. Are you using different tools? What your marketing looks like from a stats perspective, what your budget looks like. Are you using all of these different tools? And we've graded each of the areas, right? So you can see on the left-hand side, if you're actively using something, fantastic. That means there's still a lot to learn, right? But at least you know, compared to the average client, you are actively using our platform. And when you see something that says rarely using, that's when you know, okay, this is an area that you can focus in more on. And we're going to touch on a lot of these aspects. So pay attention to the areas where you are rarely using a particular product, right? So we're going to go over and spend more time on this report tomorrow since it is for admins, but just be aware this was sent out. This is something great as a teaching tool for you to use for the rest of your team. And it's a Ylopo diagnostic, a check, a systems check to see everything that you're doing on our Ylopo platform. So great, let's kind of get started here, and we will kind of lay the groundwork for our first session of the day. Here we go. Barry, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can. And
okay.
While you're getting that set up, I just want to mention with the client health report, there's so many times users will come to both our account managers and our professors and say, how am I doing? I feel like I'm missing something. And don't get me wrong, you can still have that conversation, but this client health report, it's just a great way to make sure that you've got everything dialed in, that you're maximizing all the features that you can for your business. So definitely take a look at that. If you don't have one, your administrator for your team, whoever has admin access should be able to see that.
Yeah, and if you're an admin and for some reason you did not get this report, then please reach out to support@ylopo.com and we will pull it for you and send it to you. Maybe the email you're using, what we have in our system is not up to date, or there's some other issue. So if you haven't received it, email support@ylopo.com and we will get it to you. Awesome. So the first session of the day is getting back to basics, right? We want to make sure that everyone understands, just from the highest level, what is Ylopo doing for you and doing for your team, right? So, this is a great, for new clients of Ylopo, for early clients in their journey on Ylopo, this is going to be a great, kind of a step-by-step walkthrough of the basics of what Ylopo does. For those of you who have been Ylopo for a long time, this is a great refresher. And not only is it a great refresher, but we're going to go through all the new stuff Ylopo is doing, right? So, if you haven't checked out the Ylopo system in detail in 6 months because everything is either working or you've been too busy, this is another great checkpoint for you to understand what it is that we are doing across the board, right? In terms of agenda, here's what we're going to cover. We're going to start by explaining how Ylopo ads work, right? What is the consumer seeing from an advertising perspective that is going to be the bait for them to become a lead for you? We're going to talk about how Ylopo nurtures leads once they have been generated so that they are someone that is persistently in contact with you and your brand, and how Ylopo automates all of that for you. And then we're going to switch gears and we're going to show you from the agent's perspective, what does the agency, when new revived leads come into the system, when Raya interacts with leads and all of that good stuff. We're going to go over some high-level best practices on lead nurture and lead follow-up. We're going to have a whole session on lead follow-up. That's the third session of the day. But we want to give new agents a high-level sense of what should you be doing, right? And then set the stage for our advanced follow-up session, later in the day. And then finally, I'm going to go over all the resources you have available to you from a Ylopo perspective to make sure that you fine-tune your systems even more. Awesome. So,
well, and one thing as G is going over the ad section, pay attention to what the consumer sees. That's going to help your scripting. Sorry, G.
yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. So, first off, we want to just kind of high level. We're not going to toot our horn too much. I mean, you're already here. You're already sold on our product, obviously. But, we're doing digital marketing at scale, right? We spend over $10 million a year on social and pay-per-click marketing. We generate 2 million leads annually, and we probably import in another 5 million leads on our clients' behalf to nurture. Facebook has done 3 official case studies on us. They're going to work on a 4th one with our Diva product. So, in terms of expertise in digital marketing, I really do think that we are on the most cutting edge as a platform. That's why you're all here, right? And so what I want to start with in terms of new lead generation, as I said, we're going to focus first on what consumers see when they come into your kind of world, right? And what I want to start with is social marketing, because this is what we're known for. This is what our bulk of our leads are being generated with. And with social marketing, what we're doing, the big idea, the high level, right, is that Facebook and Instagram is a unique platform in that it allows us to target specific demographics because the Facebook and Instagram platform has so much data about you, right? And so we can actually micro segment who are the individuals within a particular market we are generating leads against, right? Now, demographic targeting is great, but by itself, it is just a tool that you can use for high-level marketing or for, I would say kind of average or below average marketing, right? What makes Ylopo different is that we can actually upload all of the listings in your MLS to Facebook. And when we do that, we're not just uploading the listings, we are associating data with every single home to tell Facebook, here are the demographics that are relevant to this particular listing, right? And what Facebook is going to do then is when we're targeting a specific type of person, we're showing them specific types of listings, Facebook is going to figure out every single time the consumer sees the ad, what are the right properties to show this person that is going to get them to become a lead for you or capture their interest, right? So we target the right person, the right property at the right time. Now, let me get into specifics. Let me show you some examples of what the consumer is going to see, right? So the ad on your right is an ad we're running for our client, Nicole Kapoor, who is in the Bay Area in San Francisco. And this specific ad that you are seeing on the right-hand side is demographically targeting high net worth individuals, right? That's why the ad says ready to be stunned by these luxurious features. And as you can see, we're showing listings that are in the $2, $3, $5 million range because in San Francisco, that is how much high-end homes cost, right? So we're demographically targeting high net worth individuals. We're showing them listings that are higher end upper market listings. And what Facebook is going to do is make sure that the consumer, when they are looking at these listings, are going to see listings that are most compelling and interesting to them, right? They're going to use their massive multi-billion-dollar investment in artificial intelligence to figure out what those properties look like, right? So right person, right time, right home, right? This concept of being able to target that level is something that we can drill into very much into detail, right? So this is another example of an ad we're running for our clients, Ross Tanaka, where we are targeting demographically veterans and active duty military in the Honolulu market, right? There's a big military base in Honolulu, a lot of veterans and active duty military members. And the homes that we are going to show this, person are all properties that qualify for a $0 down VA loan, right? So once again, demographic, veterans and active duty military, type of homes that qualify for a $0 down VA loan, and Facebook is going to show the most relevant properties for that individual. Last example, and I love to hear from Barry after this about the kind of the advertisements that we're running, is we can drill down into the deepest levels of kind of demographic targeting, right? So in this advertisement for Cindy Hauser, we're actually only targeting people who are interested in golf and showing them properties on golf courses, right? So that's the level of depth that we can get to from a targeting perspective on Facebook, right? So what does this mean for you? What it means for you is that you have a lot of options when it comes to Ylopo digital marketing. It's not like you give us money and we say, okay, here's leads, right? You have the ability to calibrate what is the specific types of properties, demographics that you're focused on in your market, what is hot and relevant in your market. And of course, we have pre-configured demographics and targeting and all that kind of stuff because we do this for a lot of people and we have a lot of data around that, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't contribute to your own marketing success. And so, you know, this is one of the things that our marketing managers spend the most time on, calibrating what are the targeting options in your market that you would like us to see. And then we take a test and learn approach, right? It's not just like you give us golf courses, we run it, and if it generates $50 cost per lead or $5 cost per lead, it is what it is. Typically, as Barry will talk about, you might give us 20 demographics of which we tell you, hey, here's the 10 that we recommend that you try out. And ultimately, you'll have like 2 to 5 segments that are producing quality leads for you. And so we're taking a test and learn approach to find out the best type of advertising that's going to make a difference. So Barry, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to all the professionals in your life, in your business, you're going to get more out of people when you inform them on your needs. So for example, with a CPA, I'm going to get better tax returns when I tell them more about my scenario and what my goals are. And with Ylopo, it's no different. You don't have to tell us anything. We're running, as Gia's already said, millions of leads a year. But if you know your market and people are looking for certain things, it behooves you to tell marketing at Ylopo, your account manager, I know people want XYZ. I know they want properties on golf courses. I know they want new construction or waterfront. Can we do an ad set around that? I have ran the same ad for like 3 years. And it was a type of waterfront home I knew people wanted. And I was generating leads for 3 years. And the reason why it works so well is it's dynamic. G's mentioned that several times. And so the significance here of it being dynamic is it's always putting the right neighborhood, the right property, the right price range, the right bed and bath, and it's putting in front of them in Facebook. So think listing alerts like you're in your MLS, but in their news feed. This is why it's so transformative. And I could go on, but this is a long session. Just understand that you want to inform marketing, and the dynamic remarketing that Ylopo is providing is truly different.
100%. Awesome. So once a consumer clicks on one of these Facebook ads, the next step that happens is we capture this person as a lead, right? The way that we do that here at Ylopo is we leverage a Facebook technology called Facebook lead ads. Now, what's significant about lead ads is that the registration form experience actually pops up right inside Facebook. So it is not taking someone to another website, having them, load that other website, registration form pops up, and they're typing in all that information. With the Facebook registration form, because it opens inside Facebook, it's instant, right? So there's no bounces. Anyone who clicks on the ad is going to see the registration form. And the other factor that makes the registration form so important is that the contact information of the consumer is pulled from their Facebook profile and automatically populated into the lead form, right? So the consumer doesn't have to type anything out, put in a phone number. This also, by the way, does not give them a option, or at least they have the option, but most people don't take advantage of it, of editing their email address and phone number, right? So chances are you're going to get a valid contact information from this registration experience. We will ask this person a couple of questions to further vet them, like when are they looking to move, where are they in their home buying process, and by the way, you can add additional custom questions as well, right? This is something that you can discuss with your marketing manager, because they might, let's say you want to add a question like, what type of property are you interested in, single family, condo, etc. That's one where we say, fantastic, that's a great filtration question to find out if this is a good or a bad lead. It might increase your cost per lead, your cost, because every time you ask a question, you're going to eliminate a certain number of people who say, I'm not going to fill out this form, right? But it could also generate higher quality leads. You might even consider dropping some questions in order to get more leads. So there's another aspect of tuning your system in terms of what are the questions you're asking, what does the lead registration experience looks like. Now, once a consumer has filled out this registration form, they are going to go into your home search experience, right? The first thing that we do when someone comes in your home search experience is we log this person in, right? This is actually a very sophisticated piece of technology. No one else in the industry, as far as we know, has it, because instead of making this person double register on your home search website, we capture everything this person is doing on the home search site as soon as they come in, because we're able to log them in into the home search experience, right? So once they come into the home search experience, they're logged in. On average, a consumer comes in and views about 5 properties, right? So, you know, from Facebook, keep in mind, this is on mobile, right? So there's a certain time limit that most people are not willing to spend on a home search experience. 5 listings is actually really, really good, right? And what's significant about those 5 listings is not only are we capturing that data, we're sending it into your CRM so you know which of those 5 listings we're sending over, but or if this person is viewed, but in addition to that, we're capturing that data and we're sending it back into Facebook, right? We're telling Facebook specifically they have viewed this property, they have shared this property with their spouse, they've favorited this property, they've viewed 80% of the photos for this one, they've scrolled down on the page 50% on this other one. All of that data we're capturing and we're sending it back into Facebook so that it can calibrate when we're showing them remarketing ads, which we'll talk about in a second. Exactly what are the right listings to show that person that's going to get them to click on your ad over and over again to see more listings, create more engagement, right? So once a consumer comes into a home search experience and they viewed a couple of listings, the next step is, first, we're going to send a dynamic listing alert within 15 minutes, right? So what is dynamic listing alert? A dynamic listing alert is an email alert that we're sending out where we are adjusting what type of listings we show that individual after every time they view some more properties on your website, right? I know this is a little bit small here at the very top of their screen, but look at this email listing alert right here. We're sending this person homes in Jurupa Valley, California that are between 336.8K and 561.3K, right? The reason it's so specific is because this person looked at a very tight range of homes. And if this person start looking for homes that are in a higher price point, if they start looking for homes in a new city, if they spend a lot of time looking at homes in one city and then they originally searched for 3 cities, we're going to start calibrating the listing alert over and over again to get the right listings to the consumer, right? Our average open rate on our listing alerts are well over 50%, which is, again, I would say sets the mark within the industry to make sure that this person is receiving something that is really relevant to them, right? Now, email is great. You know, listing alerts are great, but, you know, and we obviously think ours is better than our competition, but email listing alerts, everyone does, right? It's par for the course. And so what we're doing that's additional to this is dynamic remarketing, right? What dynamic remarketing is same concept as before when we're generating new leads. We are uploading all of the listings in the MLS into the Facebook environment, right? And the difference between new lead generation and remarketing is that when we remarket to someone, Facebook already has a lot of data about that consumer because we've been sending that data into Facebook, right? So they already know this person has been interested in these 3 properties. They like homes that have a pool, that are 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and so on and so forth. And then Facebook is going to start showing them properties that are similar to the ones that they showed interest in on your home search website, right? So we call dynamic remarketing a social listing alert that complements perfectly the email listing alert. And this dynamic remarketing is what I think has been transformative for our clients.
Yeah, and you know, most times, gee, this has been super enlightening. I actually learned a few things, and most times, Facebook advertising is who can get the most attention, who can be the most creative, and that historically is what agents have done. And the reason why Ylopo has worked so well for agents across the country is because we're giving the consumer what they want. They want to shop for homes. They're not interviewing agents yet. So when I'm doing these videos, like, you know, I've been born and raised for 20 years, they don't care. They want to see the inside of this house on Red Mountain Road because that's what they're looking for. And in 20 years, I've never had a website that was relevant to the consumer. I couldn't compete with the big dogs. And I was checking last month, I had 18,000 people shopping for a home on my little old Ylopo website. I've got an ecosystem now because I'm putting what the consumer wants. And as the consumer's need changes, I am in front of them. And it's without a doubt my favorite Ylopo feature. And I've got a lot of favorites, but this is definitely my favorite.
Awesome. Yeah. And so, you know, when it comes to dynamic remarketing, this is not the only thing we do from a remarketing perspective, right? For the ad that you're seeing on the right-hand side is a ad that we are specifically targeting to buyers. And for buyers, we are obviously showing them properties that are listed on the MLS that they might be interested in buying, right? For sellers, what we're doing is we're identifying, first off, all of the homeowners in your database using Facebook's algorithm, demographic targeting. And we're doing it, by the way, not just with Facebook data, but I actually license data from national data brokers that have aggregated people who have visited the portals, who have you know, gone to Home Depot or have otherwise signaled that they are a homeowner, right? And what we're doing is we're showing these people homes in their neighborhood or area that have just sold that directly impacts their home price, right? So if you're an active buyer in a market, you're interested in homes that you could buy. If you're a seller in the market, then you're going to be interested in homes that just sold. And we're going to cover both parts to make sure that we get buyers and sellers registering and coming back on your website and engaging with your content over and over again. That's not all though. So these two first ads, as you can see, is very listing forward, right? What that means is the primary objective of these ads is to get a consumer to see a property they're interested in or see a just sold they're interested in and click on those properties, right? So your brand, which only appears at the very top here, is probably taking less than 5 to 10% of the mind share of the client when they see this advertisement. But we all know how important brand marketing is. What I equate this to is that the dynamic remarketing ads we're doing here creates engagement, right? They're engaging with all of these listings. But you also need to build trust with the consumer so that when they actually are interested in working with an agent, they work with you, right? That's why very recently we launched the concept of video remarketing, right? Think of this as TV personalized to the people in your database that is going to help them remember your brand when they are at the point where they're choosing someone to work with. These videos are short and sweet. Some of them are educational. Some of them are funny. Some of them just, kind of are theme based so that they focus in on, a specific time period and gets the content in front of consumers. So let me show you two videos so you understand the concept behind this marketing. Oh, sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties right here. So you can see here, short and sweet, gets your brand, you are whitelisting content that our high-end video team is producing, right? So you don't have to do anything here. We're doing everything, but your brand is going to be front and center. Let me show you one more. So this video, as you can see here, is themed specifically for Christmas, right? We build videos for you for every holiday, for every season. So we make sure this content is very fresh and appears to the consumer, sequentially, which means that they're going to see one video, then the next, then the next, then the next. So it's always fresh and in front of, and it stays in front of the consumer. Any thoughts here, Barry?
Well, and yeah, I was just going to say that being able to do a video on Facebook for an agent, it's something that, there's so many apps that we could do on our own. But I've never had anybody say, hey, Barry, I saw that video of a Christmas tree. Will you come over and sell my house? Like that just doesn't That doesn't happen. And so because as agents, branding videos don't give us that immediate need of generating business this month, it's something we do occasionally, but we don't have that consistency that we need. And so what's transformative about what G just showed us, this agent TV of the Diva remarketing and branding ads, is that I consistently am having my brand in front of them. And we're going to have a whole session on Diva videos and everything later. And so I don't want to go too much into it, but I have been blown away with the percentage of my database that watches the entire video. So it's over 70%. And so, you know, jab, jab, right hook, you know, the right hook is the properties. They register to see them. And then I keep my brand in front of them. And I can tell you, I've had several listings that I've won just recently, my team. And the people said, "You're everywhere. I see you everywhere. I know you're going to sell my house." It keeps happening. I think Howard is going to be chiming in here.
There's a reason. I always use other industries, right, as analogies. And there's a reason why you cannot watch television. You cannot watch a sporting event. You can't watch anything without seeing an insurance commercial. Geico, State Farm, Allstate, Liberty, like the list goes on, right? You just, you know, the emu, the Statue of Liberty, the gecko, right, you know, you can't watch TV. And these insurance companies literally have metrics. If they were to stop and they're just branded as, they're not calls to action. They're not like call 1-800, blah, 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 right? They're not the direct response. They have to stay in front of you at all times. And if they ads stop, right, their business goes way down. And what you said, jab, jab, right hook, left hook, right? This is, you know, your buyers and sellers want and need to see you a few different times all over the place, 24/7, right? You want to wake up, guys, every single morning. You want to wake up with a smile on your face, look at your marketing report and say, my buyers and sellers in my geographic area know who I am. Every day, they're going to see me, right? Whereas before, you were waking up and like, how do I get everybody to know who I am? Because I am a great realtor. I know I'm the best agent. I know I've got the best team, right? But now with this, it's just constantly 24/7 top of mind with your sphere, right? Your database, your geographic area. That's the critical thing. And it really should never get turned off.
100%. Yeah. And you know, we'll go over this all in detail in a second, but you guys are going to be shocked at how cost effective all of this is going to be, right? From an agent TV perspective. I mean, it's astounding.
Pennies.
Yeah. It really is, going to blow you away when we touch on that session. That's going to be the last session of the day. So the next thing I want to talk about is something that we've got about 100 of our clients on right now. We're going to be rolling out in a much more serious way in the next couple of months here, which is dynamic pay-per-click marketing, right? Social marketing is fantastic. That's our bread and butter. With social marketing, you're getting leads that are early in the waterfall of being interested in buying a home, right? Average, you're probably looking at a lead that is going to start seriously their home search in that 7 to 9 month time frame, right? So, you know, the benefit of generating those leads so early, of course, is you're getting in front of them before they get in front of anyone else. And the second, and so you're building a relationship there, right? And the second is cost. I mean, our average cost per lead so far in the year is probably somewhere around under $4 or right around $4. That's ridiculously cheap, right? The reason that a client like Mike Novak can get a $500 or $550 cost per closed deal is because he's getting 100 of those leads at a very cheap cost that he is able to convert over time, right? And with pay-per-click marketing or AdWords, which is marketing on Google and Bing, the difference is that this person actually has search intent. They've gone on Google, they typed in homes for sale in Santa Monica, and so they're actually farther along in the funnel of becoming someone who's seriously looking for homes. And so it's another repertoire, another lead source to add to the mix of all the things that we're doing to generate high quality leads for you, right? But another difference between social and dynamic marketing is cost. Cost per lead on Google is about 2x the cost per lead on social, right? And so market by market, it's different what works better or, what performs, and generates the best ROI for you, right? And it's oftentimes not A or B. it oftentimes is a mix of those things, because you want some, lower cost leads to feed your team, and some slightly higher quality leads to make sure that in the near term you're getting more conversions, right? So AdWords and Google is something that has been around for a very long time. And the pioneer, Ylopo, our management team have been one of the pioneers in bringing pay-per-click marketing into real estate with our last business, Tiger Lead Solutions, right? But the thing that's crazy to me is that at Tiger Lead, we generated pay-per-click leads in a specific way, and we started in 2008. Well, guess what? 10 years later, 12 years later, everyone's still doing the same thing that we were doing 12 years ago, which makes no sense to me, right? And so after a lot of investment, about a year of hardcore testing and technical investment, we have come up with a new form of pay-per-click marketing that we call dynamic PPC. Here's what dynamic PPC means that is very different from what the competition is doing, right? The first thing that we're doing is, if you want to target you tell an average digital marketing firm, I want to target people who are looking for homes for sale in Santa Monica, right? They're going to build a campaign for you for homes for sale in Santa Monica. And that's going to work to some degree, right? But the difference of what Ylopo is doing is, we realize that when you bid for the keyword homes for sale in Santa Monica, you are also interested in getting leads, and probably you would even prefer to get leads that are people who are looking for the 13 to 14 neighborhoods in Santa Monica, the 50 different subdivisions in Santa Monica, and the school districts in Santa Monica, right? And so we're going to create an individual campaign for every one of those locations. And what we're finding is that 50% or more of the traffic we're generating for someone who's interested in building a campaign for, homes for sale in Santa Monica, is coming from the keywords of specific locations for neighborhoods, subdivisions, and school districts. And of course, the people who are getting to that level of detail have a higher level of interest in buying a home, right? So just by doing this layered approach to building out your campaigns, we're seeing an incredible increase in from our clients reporting appointments, reporting kind of higher quality leads. And so it is one of the biggest differentiators that we're bringing into the Google environment. Barry, did you have something?
And G, wow, we have really good timing. It's like I just know or something. Well, what I was going to say is, when it comes to PPC, I can't tell you how excited I am. My teams have been scaling off of the Google PPC leads. We stopped years ago because the cost per lead was almost $30. It's because I was competing with Zillow on Google Ads, homes for sale in Virginia Beach. They were buying Google Ads, and I can't compete with their budget. They have more money than me, but they are not running ads on specific neighborhoods. And to hire someone to do that for me would make it to where I'd have to pay them so much to be super specific to make it, to be able to do it. But then it drives my cost back up. And what Ylopo has been able to do is to create a way to automate this. And for me, I can tell you that the number of qualified, talking to us, wanting listings sent, labeling hot, warm type leads has more than doubled as we've moved heavy into this new PPC, because we're speaking to people that understand and have a need. I love it when I bring Howard on. He's getting excited. Go.
I think it's important to understand that, Mike Novak is doing the right math. It's not cost per click. It's not cost per lead. It's cost per close. This is really, really critical. Everybody write that down. It's not, what is this pay-per-click company's cost per click or cost per lead? And what's this pay-per-click company's cost per click, cost per lead? What's Facebook? What's PPC? What's portal? It's ultimately what is, for that lead source, your cost per close. The other point that I really want to make here is, it's a huge mistake to just say, okay, turn off social media lead gen and let's go all in on pay-per-click. This is a huge mistake. Why? Because ultimately over time, you're in most of your markets, and G, you can comment on this if I'm right or wrong, you may be able to get double the number of social media leads than pay-per-click leads. Now, the social media leads may be a little bit farther upstream, okay? But remember, And I'm going to talk about this, guys, at 3:00 Pacific, so don't miss it. And we're going to talk about this, and I've got some great client examples. But what you want to do, guys, is you want to build up your income stream over time. You want to invest in your business, okay? We're going to talk about this. There's no better way to do that than the social media leads, because while they may not jump off the fence in the next month or the next 90 days, okay, you are taking those relationships, fishing them out of the stream, putting them in your fishbowl. You've seen with our remarketing, with Ryan, all that, we're not going to let them out of your fishbowl. When they eventually want to sell and buy, they're in your fishbowl. And there's no more cost-effective way to do that than the social media leads. So you want to load up on them. And I'm going to show you the power of when you can get your database to 10,000 leads, 25,000 leads, 50,000 leads. We've seen clients who just drop their lead gen budgets because they're getting so many priority alerts because they've stockpiled these leads, who then eventually everybody buys and sells. So what you want to do, okay, and this is my recommendation, very, very strong, blend it, okay? Blend it. Dominate your market. Get your social media leads, super, super cost effective. Let us nurture them, bring them down the river, get your more down funnel pay-per-click leads, blend them in so you can, eat right away, okay? But do the whole thing. So I don't know, G, if you want to comment on that as our Chief Marketing Officer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would recommend the same, right? If you did, whether you're 50-50, and by the way, it really depends on your team, right? And it depends on the size of your database. Let's say that you had 10,000 leads in your database that you are doing remarketing to. In that situation, we already know we're going to generate like 1,000 to 1,500 of those leads that we're going to revive over time. That's a lot of business that are already in there, right? In that situation, you might say, I want to take all my budget and I want to devote it to social leads because I want to build my database up even more. I plan on converting, a good portion of my closings from all the remarketing effort we're doing. And I have the time to wait until my database matures from those social advertisements to turn into deals later on, right? And because the cost per lead is half or less of a PPC lead, it makes more sense to do social. If you're in Florida, for instance, where most of the leads are coming in from out of town, Google is going to probably be better than social because most of your deals, social is great for generating leads that are local. Google is generating leads that are out of state, people who are looking for homes for sale in Naples, for instance, right? And in that situation, I might spend way more of my budget on PPC. For the average client, what I'd say is that that you should have a balance of the two, and the mix of whether it's, 20%, 50%, 80% is going to be up to your market. The other thing to realize is that PPC requires more money to run than social, right? Because the cost per lead is double, but not only that, because you require a lot of data in order to generate Google leads. We right now are finding that if you spend less than $1,000, for instance, on Google, it just doesn't work, right? So for single agents, for teams that have smaller budgets, you might not be able to run Google cost effectively, right? And so that might be another reason that you shift your budget more to social, or you have to spend more money in order to capture those Google leads. So there's a lot of nuance there, and we will talk more about those nuances when we open up our Google AdWords, to everyone. What I'd say right now is we're in an open beta stage, which means that if you want to try out pay-per-click advertising, just reach out to support@ylopo.com. We can send you all the details and get you up on that campaign as well, so you can see the difference between all of the advertising. So,
well, in G, you don't want to be a pendulum. You don't want to swing from one to the other. You want to have that balance. And my database, when I started with Ylopo, was 6,000. Now it's over 70,000. So I bought hook, line, and sinker what Howard is saying, and the only way to do that is with social. You can't do it just on AdWords. But sorry, I'll let you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the second thing we're doing on dynamic PPC that's very different is, intuitively, if you think about the people who are looking for homes, right, where they start searching for homes has a big impact on the type of homes they're looking for. Take the keyword homes for sale in Beverly Hills, and I'm using this as an extreme example, right? If you start looking for homes for sale in Beverly Hills from Kansas City, right, chances are you are looking for a home that is a lower price point and you're a less serious buyer than if you are starting your search for homes for sale in Beverly Hills from Manhattan, right? Just because, demographically speaking, chances are you're going to spend more money. An average PPC company is going to treat both of those buyers in the exact same way, right? Well, what Ylopo is doing is we have micro segmented down to the zip code level so that when we bid for a particular keyword or location for you, we are able to make up to 50,000 bid adjustments based on the zip code of origin of where you started your search, right? I have not seen this done, period, across real estate. It is something that even the most sophisticated e-commerce pay-per-click marketers are not taking advantage of. And we have seen phenomenal results from this, both from a cost per lead perspective, but also from a lead quality perspective. So it's another amplifier, and it's why we call this dynamic marketing. The next part of dynamic marketing is that Google has recently released a feature, again, I don't see anyone else taking advantage of this, that allows us to insert dynamic data into our ad copy, right? One of the reasons that Google, that Barry, for instance, saw his cost per lead so high when he's competing against Zillow is that at the end of the day, if your ad says new homes for sale in Virginia Beach, guess what? Zillow's ad says the same thing, right? And when you see a link at the bottom here that says, you know, Virginia Beach homesforsale.com, and you see a link here that says Zillow or realtor.com, what is the consumer going to click on? They're going to click on the brands that they know, right? How do you differentiate against that? Is by actually inserting dynamic data into the advertisement. So instead of saying new homes for sale in Calgary, we're saying there's 910 homes in Calgary homes for sale, 42 new homes that are just listed, 68 open houses, right? So using this as a data advantage, we are going to be able to outcompete just brand alone, right? So this is another dynamic part. And by the way, we update this data every, I think, 4 to 6 hours or something like that. So it's always fresh and relevant for your particular market. The next thing we're doing on the dynamic part is partial completion leads, right? So one of the insights we figured out is that most PPC companies out there, most platforms out there, when they capture a lead, they will capture that lead's name, email address, and phone number. That's how you complete a registration form, right? And they put all of those questions on one form. Well, guess what? What we found is that if you ask for a phone number first, and then you ask for the name and email second, there is 70% more people that will give you their phone number and then for some reason not complete the rest of the form, right? Probably because they're mobile, they just typed in something because they think they just need to register via their phone number, and then they go, oh man, there's more forms I have to figure out, and then they bail out of that process, right? Well, guess what? If we capture this person's phone number, we can text this person via Raya, right? So what that means is by just changing the simple process of capturing their phone number first, we are creating 70%, that's right, 70% more opportunities for you than using a standard registration process, right? So, right there, there's another innovation that we're bringing to bear that I think is going to dramatically change the game, because we're going to be able to work significantly more leads for you via these what we call partial completions. All right, guys, we've got limited time here, but any other kind of comments on PPC before I move on?
Let me just make a couple of comments. One, administrative, guys. We've said it a few times. We're still seeing a lot of questions in the chat channel. Okay, you got a chat channel, you got a Q&A channel. There are various reasons why we need the questions in the Q&A channel. So questions in the Q&A channel. Chat comments like, Barry, you look amazing today. That would go in the chat channel, right? But gee, how does blah, 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 that would go in the Q&A channel. We're still seeing a lot of questions there. Second comment is, want to take my hat off, to G, because for the longest time I would be like, gee, we got to do pay-per-click, man. We can't just do social. And he would just like roll his eyes and look at me like, no, like we're doing social, and we're doing, social remarketing because we do that better than anybody. And I only want to do stuff where we do it better than anybody. And I don't want to just come in and just do pay-per-click worse than other folks or at parity with other folks. But it's literally taken so much hard work on his part, so much research. You guys don't know how many industry experts he's spoken to, how much research he's done. And we now are getting ready to release what I keep calling it pay-per-click 2.0, because the entire industry's been doing pay-per-click 1.0 like way back since 2006. It hasn't changed. And now G has taken his concept of dynamic, where we're capitalizing on data that's always changing, right, to make it a dynamic platform for Google advertising. So my hat's off to G and his team, to Barry, who's been very instrumental in the product development. It's really next level stuff, and it's going to be better than what you can find elsewhere.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so at this point, I have shown you what new leads look like on social, what new leads look like on PPC. Now, what does the consumer see once they have registered and become a lead for you and they have left the home search experience, right? Well, this is where Raya takes over, our automated ISA, because we are going to work these leads for you like an ISA would over text message, right? So as soon as the lead comes in, they register within a couple of seconds. We vary the timing because we want to make it look real, right? You don't want to send a text message within a second and then they go, oh, this is obviously automated. So the first text that we send out to a consumer is typically fairly generic. Hi, April, how's it going? This is XYZ's assistant. Automated ISA is always your assistant, right? That way it gives you cover. Let's say you call this person, you already got a ton of information from them, and then your assistant reach out again. You can always say, oh, you know what? We just want to service you to the best way possible, and we haven't had the time yet to brief my assistant, so I apologize about that, right? So it gives you cover. Now, the first text that we send out, again, is fairly generic. That second text that we send, you're going to start seeing what Ylopo is doing that no one else is doing. Is this April? I might have found some other homes on my website. Here's a link to a few I found. Direct link to recommendations, right? So Barry, you have some, this is your invention here. You had some incredible insight why we're doing this. Can you explain?
Well, you know, first of all, nobody has ever and still hasn't been able to have an automated platform send listings via text. And so what we're finding is we're about 3 or 4-ish years ahead of other companies that are trying to do things like this, but we're about a decade ahead of what the consumer understands is possible. And it's just like when you get a birthday or Christmas gift from someone you didn't expect and you feel guilty, and then you feel obligated to give them something back. And what we're finding, leads are almost feeling like, wow, they're doing so much work for me, I should respond. And the fact that the listings actually match their search behavior. So it is actually, in fact, properties that they're interested in, and it's happening automatically. The response rate is phenomenal. And, you know, when the leads do respond, as G is going to go on, AI is able to convert it. And so this is transformative. If you can't tell, I think it's a really big deal.
So once the consumer actually replies to one of these texts, right, that is where our automation is, our chatbot is going to take over to start qualifying the lead, right? We will find out what is the time frame this person is interested in moving in, find out their location of interest, find out what their budget requirements look like, what their bedroom bath requirements look like, what their pre-qualification status is, find out if they're homeowner or not, and if they're committed to an agent. And if we get all of that information, we will even schedule the appointment for you, right? And as you will see, as we are texting back and forth with the consumer, we will give you the opportunity to take that conversation over, or you can just watch the conversation happen on your phone, right? So the conversation I've shown you right here is linear, right? You ask a question, you get an answer. You ask a question, you get an answer. Trust me when I say that 95% of the conversations that are happening with Raya is not like that. It is actual conversations that are happening in the same way that you would have a conversation with someone in real life, right? They give you 5 pieces of information in one text. They say, you know, I'm at a wedding right now. I'm at a funeral right now, whatever is the case. I'm at work right now. I can't talk, right? Raya, 98% of the time, you know, is going to appear just like a human being. I would say only 2% of the time does anyone ever say, oh, is this automated? Is this a chatbot? It's very, very rare, right? So there's a lot of power behind this system. Now, when it comes to Raya, you know, and let me kind of summarize everything for you, and then we're going to keep going here, right? So once again, Facebook or Google, these ads catches their attention, gets them to register, right? The registration form is needed for them to continue searching. After they register, they can search and view properties. And the next time they open up their email or their social media account, they're going to see relevant homes sponsored by you, the agent. And Raya, your assistant, is going to be reaching out to them to find out their real estate interest. So that is the linear path that consumers see from the moment they register all the way until they're communicating with you to become a hot prospect or someone that's seriously working on real estate. Barry, anything else you want to touch on in the consumer experience before I go into the agent perspective?
Yeah, it's very seamless, and it's in front of them all day and all night because they are on Facebook all the time. We've thought through the nuance of the experience, and knowing that whether they've come from Facebook or Google is such an important part of this because it's going to impact some of the nuances of how you speak to people and the type of words you use. And so just remind yourself that all of this is flowing into your CRM, all these leads, and we'll get into how to follow up with them later. But just, you know, I don't want to take up any more time than I have to, just to say that the consumers love our website. They use it.
And G, let me ask you here, how do you see the AI development at Ylopo? You know, how do you see Raya, our AI, real estate AI as your assistant? How do you see Raya developing over the next year or two? What are we working on internally to bring it up to the, you know, even up to the next level? And part two, which is there's a lot of noise and chatter out there in the universe about, you know, other types of AI, okay? And, you know, there's other AI sources out there, but can you talk about, number one, how Ylopo AI is different from the rest, and also kind of how we're gonna continue to develop it?
Yeah, sure. And you know, I don't want to take too much time because we've only got 23 minutes. We've got half the deck to go over, right? So high level, there's two things. The first is that in order for AI to work and in order for AI to improve, and our AI is improving all the time, you need a massive amount of data, right? So if you talk to a company, I think one of the things that you should ask them is, how many conversations are you having with consumers with this technology on a monthly basis, right? If they don't answer that question, meaning they can't answer that question or they won't answer that question, that's a red flag, right? Because that means that they probably don't have enough data to build out this AI in a really sophisticated way or to continue improving the AI, right? We have over 500,000 conversations that are happening right on a monthly basis, millions of conversations that have already happened, right? So as we get more data, we're improving our AI from that perspective. So that's number one. The second is, the biggest thing that we can do from an AI perspective that is going to help you, that we are working on this year, is objection handling, right? You know, if someone says, oh, I'm not interested in buying until next year, our AI basically says right now, okay, sounds good, we'll reach out to you later, right? Because that is the easy thing to say. Now, you as an agent, of course, is going to look at that and say, oh, well, fantastic, I totally understand, take your time, but I'm just curious, if we can get you approved for a loan today at the lowest rates possible, would you be interested in moving sooner? Or if we found the home that you would be really interested in, would you consider moving sooner, right? Those are standard objection handling techniques that are difficult from an AI perspective. That, I would say, is going to be the biggest thing that's transformative for our clients. And we are testing scripts and dialogues and all that kind of stuff, not just within Ylopo, but with people who are the best in industry at creating those scripts and dialogues to help put this on steroids, right? So there's a lot of things that are happening that are nuanced that are going into all of this from an AI perspective. Awesome.
Well, and G, I know, I'm dragging it on, but we're not just AI. We've combined what they want, which is the IDX data, the properties, with transformative AI. Whereas everybody else is just kind of like a, you know, AI lead response system. And don't get me wrong, that's okay, but that's not transformative. What we're doing actually is very, very innovative and different. So, all right, I'll shut up.
You can steal from my time. I have an hour, you know, in the afternoon to do what I'm going to do, and I can do that in less time. So let's get through everything you want to get through. But guys, just remember this: we're a weird animal because there's AI companies. That's all they do. There's companies that wire up your IDX home search, and they've got all the home search data. And there's lead gen companies. Guys, we're generating well over 1 million leads a year. So hold the presses. What G just said, we're doing 500,000 Raya conversations a month. and we have all the home search data, right? So there's no other companies that could put all three of those things together to have next level AI.
Awesome. Awesome. So, okay, cool. So let me, kind of now address the, what the agencies, right? So the first thing that's going to happen, actually, I'm going to zoom ahead first and show you new lead registration is as soon as a lead comes in, we're going to inbox that into your CRM of choice, right? The note that you are seeing on the right-hand side is from the Boomtown system. We integrate with a bunch of partners, which you guys are all going to hear about in the next session because we're going to go ahead and show you guys, train you guys on a CRM by CRM basis for the CRM that you're most interested in. But we're going to drive a new lead into your system and give you all the contact information and give you a summary note about everything we know about the consumer, everything from their age to where we generate that lead from, what ad we generated the lead from, what location they're most interested in, what their time frame looks like, a whole bunch of information for you to process and look at, right? The most important thing in a new lead registration note that you need to look at is this link that we are sending over. That's the STARS link. The STARS link is going to be the Ylopo backend that gives you all of the tools for communicating with the lead, in terms of setting up listing alerts, talking with them through Raya, setting up seller alerts. We'll give you all the examples of what you can do there. And also, it gives you all of the intelligence about that lead, every property they viewed, every property they viewed, every property they've saved, everything that they've favorited, everything they've shared. You get access to all of that data. So that's what a new lead looks like. The second thing that happens within our system is new leads are great, but we are reviving for you a ton of old leads, as well as for your new leads later on in the process. We are bring them back over and over again, right? As Barry said, out of his database just last month, he had 18,000 people looking for properties on his website, right? He's got a big team. He's got 3 teams, in fact, but 18,000 phone calls is not going to happen in a month, right? And so what the insight behind priority leads is that we are going to scan for the behavior that we know makes a lead a lead that you should be contacting, right? And that behavior can be everything from they viewed a property 5 times or more, they came back 5 days in a row, they shared a listing with their spouse, so on and so forth. There's about 20 rules on the buyer and seller side that we're analyzing to elevate a lead into a priority status for you, right? And when a lead becomes a priority lead, and by the way, priority lead is about a quarter to a third of all of the visits that come to your website, right? So make the math easy. Let's say you have 20,000 people coming back to visit your website. About 4,000 to 5,000 of those leads are going to become priority leads, right? So it's the most significant actions in your site, for all of these leads that we're sending through, right? So once a priority leads gets generated, we are going to send a note to your CRM. We're going to send you an email. We're going to send you a text, right? So chances are you're not going to miss the priority lead notifications because we're going to send it to you in a lot of different ways. And when we send a priority lead, what's going to happen on the back end is we are going to wait for you to action on this lead, right? And the reason for that is because chances are, if you scan the activity of that lead, you had all the time in the world, you are going to be able to come up with a customized text message that is higher quality, or a phone call, right? That is higher quality than what we can send on an automated basis. That just makes sense, right? If we could do just as well as you, then we probably wouldn't have agents. The machine is going to convert all of your leads, right? And so what our system is going to do is we are going to wait 8 to 12 hours, right? And give you a chance to action on the priority lead yourself. If we see that you haven't done anything with the lead, which to be frank is most of the time, probably 70% of the time, we are going to then use Raya to send out a text message on your behalf to that consumer that is relevant to what they have done on the home search website. So it's not as good as if you send something yourself, but it is definitely better than some other automated system. But it also is, going to be very relevant to what this person has done on the home search website, right? Now, when we send out a behavioral text and this person replies, right, or even if we send out the text, we will send every text message that we send and every reply to you so that you can see everything that's going on. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to send it over as a note, right? So in this note, you can see we sent Dominic this particular text. They replied with this particular text. If you want to see the conversation in detail, press Ylopo stars and go into that system. If you want to opt this lead out of future text messages, press this button. If you want to opt them back into behavioral text in the future, press this button, right? So we're giving everything to you in a really compact format and give you an opportunity to see all of that history, to fine tune AI, to take it over yourself, opt that person out. That is all happening within your CRM. But in addition to that, we are also texting you, right? Every single time we get a text reply from the consumer, we're going to send that information to you. We texted Nina for you, and we're not going to send the entire message that we sent because we don't want to blow you up on text message, but we're going to send you the reply. Hello, I'm just trying to decide if I want to buy a home or a condo, whatever is the case, right? And so in order to see the entire text thread, you're going to press the stars link right here, take it into the back end. And all of our stars links are mobile friendly, so you can take over the conversation as soon as you go into stars right from your phone. Barry, anything else to add about priority notifications and kind of all of the Raya conversations that are going on?
No, I mean, it's we're informing you of what's going on inside the CRM, and some folks might be overwhelmed by all this information and the marketing insights. We want to be thorough. And so big idea, as you're listening to us talk about these subjects, I just want you to remember that Ylopo is doing all of this for you. We're explaining all of this for you. We're putting it into your CRM of choice. And if you don't want to do anything, we're going to do it all for you. So when you're looking at Raya is putting those conversations in your CRM, and all you need to do is use your CRM to talk to people about buying or selling a home.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Barry. What's the one thing we're not going to do for you? We'll do everything for you. We'll keep the leads coming back. We'll have Raya conversing with the leads. Priority alerts are going to be coming your way as your database builds up. But what is the one thing we're not going to do for you?
Buying and helping people buy and sell homes.
Well, and one last thing is, one of the shortcomings of automated, I say, and this comes with Raya overall, right? This is the one thing that, one of the many things that you are going to be better than AI in doing is setting the appointment, right? Because unless someone says, I want someone to call me back, or they have completed all of the questions that we're using to qualify that person, we are not going to attempt to schedule an appointment, right? But let's say someone replies to a text, oh, I'm interested in buying a property later, but I'm not 100% sure yet of type of homes I'm looking for, right? You as an agent might see that text and say, I'm going to call this person right away and say, hey, let me get your criteria and I'm going to set up a listing alert. I'm going to send you a couple properties you're interested in. Do you want to come into the office so I can show you all this content or something along those lines, right? Raya is never going to do that, right? Because we just don't know what is the optimal position to ask for an appointment, right? So the other thing that you can be doing and responsible for is watch the text messages, take it over at the point where you think you can actually set an appointment.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of companies that just get you leads, right? Lead registrations, get you leads, and good luck. Now, do we aspire to someday just get you actual, appointments already made? Sure, like we're always going to aspire to that, right? But that we're not there yet. So in the middle is this really important area where we are, where we're getting you high-level buyer and seller interactions. These interactions are happening because we're sending you these priority alerts. And we're getting you actual conversations that are happening between the consumer and Raya, okay? So what are we not going to do for you? We're not going to turn off the Raya conversation and pick up and personally start texting. You need to do that, okay? We're not going to, once you get a priority alert, like that's on you at that point to call, text, email, have that action plan, right? To then set a face-to-face appointment. That's on you. We're getting you all the high-level interactions. We're getting you all the Raya conversations. And at that point, follow-up, and which we're going to get into follow-up later, that's on you. But we're going to help you with that too. And we've got, coaches in our system that can help you with that as well.
Awesome. So as a summary, what does the agent see, right? New leads appear as soon as the lead arrives, details in the notes, priority notifications when a significant action occurs, Raya conversation notes and short links as that conversation is happening, and the ability to browse everything that goes on with the lead within stars, right? Now, I'm not going to go into the details of what does it look like in the CRM, what is a priority lead, all this kind of stuff, because that is what's going to happen in detail in the next session, right? So make sure you attend our CRM specific sessions around the CRM that you're using. We're going to go over all of that stuff, right? So the next part is I want to kind of turn it over to Professor Barry to high level talk about what lead nurture looks like. So basically, we went over what the consumer sees, what the agent sees. Now, what does the agent need to do, right? This is the last part. And so, Barry, can you talk about lead nurture cadence and on down?
Also, just admin.
Yes. So
admin announcement, guys. Everybody should go into their register for their CRM breakout session. Okay, which is that after Barry's?
It is, yeah. It's at 11 o'clock, so you get a 30-minute break.
Well, it's already 10:21, so we'll see where we're at. But anyway, so how do you do that? If you really don't remember where you registered, go back to Ylopo's Success Community. You'll see my announcement about today, and there's a link to ylopo.com/Ylopo Academy Live. On that page, you're going to see logos for 5 CRMs. Click the link for the logo on the CRM you're using, and that will get you registered for the CRM breakout.
Awesome. Cool.
Good.
Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've done an overview of marketing, but it's a common question. What do I do? When do I call? What's the right way to do it? And so I want to give you some principles to kind of run your business as we're generating opportunities for you. The first 7 to 10 days that the lead is in has come to you, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit, people that do have a sense of urgency and know what they want. And so we want you to try to call a lot the first 10 days and try to call at times convenient for the consumer. So if you're only calling at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because that's easier for you, just recognize that the answer rate is going to be lower. So you need to think outside the box like a business owner to call a lot in the beginning. Allow Raya to send the texting for you. So Raya is handling the texting, and then allow the CRM of choice to send the emails. And so your core function is getting them on the phone and responding to the opportunities as they come in. If you could go to the next slide, G. After the 10 days, my team, I tell them, don't even worry. Don't call the leads after 10 days. Just don't worry about it. You're going to now just continue to call the new leads because new opportunities are coming in. And then the leads that you haven't converted, and for me and my teams, converted just means you've spoken to them. You had a conversation. There's some intent one day to buy or sell a home. And so the first 10 days you call a lot. After that, just leave them alone. Allow the system to bring them to the top. Why priority? Which means they did something significant on your website. AI needs follow-up. That means AI converted them. Hand raiser. That means, hey, help me, please help me. If you focus on those and call those a lot, you're going to have more answer rate and more involvement. And so then once you speak to the person, so just one more time, I'm going to back up. First 10 days, you call a lot. After 10 days, forget about them until they do something significant or have a significant conversation with AI. Once you talk to them, I just want you to label it. Label them hot, warm, or cold, A, B, or C, 30, 90, 60, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just a triage to say, these are the people I need to obsess about. These are who I'm going to pay my mortgage with in 30, 60, 90 days. These are the people I don't want to forget about. And remember, if you get 100 leads and you convert 5 of them, the ROI is through the roof. It's through the roof. It's through the roof. Because when you're comparing online lead gen and the costs that are involved for running a business, you don't need 100 out of 100 yeses. You need 5%. You are making a phenomenal income. And so I tell my team, work through all the no's, find the 5 yeses. You can go to the next one, G. And also, we're going to go into this during the lead conversion section more, but we wanted to touch on it in the overview. And then the last thing, once you speak to the people, right? So you quote converted them. If they are a hot lead, you need to talk to them every week. And this goes for hot, warm, and cold. Talking to somebody every week and not being annoying is an art form. Okay. You can't call somebody every week and say, have you seen anything? Have you seen anything? Have you seen anything? They're going to stop picking up the phone because that's annoying. You've got to come from contribution. And so, hey, I saw some open houses in the area you were looking. Hey, I saw this blog I thought you might like. Hey, I was in the area and, you know, are you available at all this weekend? So every week you're talking to them. If they're warm, every 3 weeks roughly, you should be talking to them. And cold, you should be talking to them every 45 days. And so that's a great way to kind of triage your workflow. And let me just say this, historically speaking, the way over the last couple decades lead gen and lead follow-up has been in the real estate industry was all on cadence. You have a schedule. The new lead comes in, you call regularly. And for the first 10 days, that's kind of what I want you to do. But after the first 10 days occur, you're now going to leverage the new way of running your lead nurture, which is to observe who is behaving like they're interested in real estate. Focus on them and speak to them. That's new. That is not normal. We have not had that over the last several decades. But now you have a website that your consumer is using. And so you need to tweak it. It's not just about a schedule anymore. It's about analyzing and using your CRM to see that activity. And then I think that was the last one. Yeah. And then working alongside of Raya, you know, we get a lot of questions about this. You know, Raya is engaging the lead. When do I jump in? Leverage. Leverage is the deciding factor. And what I mean by that is this. You're never going to grow your business if you have to do everything. At some point, you need to start trusting the professionals and the systems around you to get the job done. Now, look, the premise here on this slide, you are better than anyone else, any other computer at converting the lead. You know the best restaurants in town. You know the language. You know the market, okay? And so if you're sitting at your computer watching a conversation take place, take it over. Take over the conversation. If you're out showing homes, let Raya do her thing. Be in two places at once. Now, when you are free, don't call them from a separate number. Go into Stars. We're going to show you how to find the Stars link. Go to the inbox inside of Stars. Take over the conversation as Raya. You can do that. We've set it up that way. Set an appointment for yourself. Hi, John. Barry would like to speak to you. When would you like to talk? 2 o'clock tomorrow? Great. Barry's going to call you at 2 o'clock tomorrow from, and then put your cell phone number. If you don't do that, it's like when you call the power company and you call and you say, these are my issues. And then they say, please hold. And they transfer you to a new person. And you have to tell the story again. You don't want to do that. They trust that number. They trust Raya because they've had a conversation with her. You need to segue. If you don't, you're not going to have many answers. And the same thing goes for if you're not free. Let Raya convert the lead. And then when Raya converts it and you get that priority notification, you get the AI engage needs follow-up, go into Stars and set the appointment.
Awesome.
And Barry, let's make sure like later to get into calling versus texting. Like we get that question all the time. And, you know, for me, it's not an either or, right? It's a both, but in terms of sequencing, let's get into that issue of when to call, when to text and all that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And again, let me reiterate, we have an entire session devoted to this topic. But for those that maybe aren't going to be on, I just want to let you know that the way that I've trained my teams to handle these conversations is, you know, to ask questions that the consumer can answer. Hey, what did you like or dislike about the homes, right? Hey, I was going through my files. Did you ever buy a home? I just want to update my notes. This one we had 33 appointments on our call night with that script. Going through my files, did you ever buy a home? What would you want to change about where you live currently? Right? These are great conversational questions that are teaching the consumer how to think. Many of these people don't know what they want yet. And because they don't know what they want, they don't think they need you. Guys, that's super important. Because they don't know what they want, they don't think they need a realtor. And I'm going to talk about this in the lead conversion section. And because of that, you've got to teach them how to think. And the way you're going to do that is by asking questions that evoke thought. It's called the Socratic method of teaching. Socrates was a super smart dude. And then to get into the financing section, do you have a friend or a family member in the mortgage business? There's a lot there. And again, time doesn't allow me to dig into it, but we'll go over it in the lead conversion section.
Hey,
And then objection handling. Yeah.
Go ahead, Barry.
Objection handling. Act like you care. I know you do, but act like it. When they give you your objection, make them feel heard, make them feel validated. And they're going to tell you why they don't need you every single time. Some of you are waiting for the lead to say, yes, please show me a home this weekend. And so just act like they need you. Act like you're the authority. And what I mean by that is you need to start guiding them and telling them what to do. And you always are going to close for an appointment. Again, we'll dig into this a little bit more in the objection handling. Go ahead, Howard.
I said there's bad news and good news. Like the bad news is like there's no way to answer everybody's question. So if we don't answer your question today, we really apologize. The good news is that it's so inspiring to me to see all of these questions. There's so many great, amazing questions. It's so inspiring that, I think that Barry, we should make the commitment, and let's make the commitment to do more Ask Us Anythings. Just wide open sessions, like Ask Us Anythings, right? Virtually. Let's do that all online. When we do our live summit, and I know the world will be normal again in the fall when we do our live summit, we've already built in an entire extra day than last year. We're going to do like this solutions room where you can actually get with your account managers and dig in, right? Like sit down with them. We're going to do a full day, which is almost like an entire day of like Ask Us Anything, and we go over everything. One of the pieces of feedback, we surveyed every single person at Summit last year. One of the big pieces of feedback was great presentations, best real estate conference I ever went to in 20 years, but we didn't get to ask enough questions. It wasn't interactive enough. So we heard you. We added a whole nother day. It's going to be super interactive. The world is a little upside down right now, so we're still working on the where and exactly the when. And we're going to have to make, a commitment to something. But the world will be right by then, and we will have an amazing, amazing, bigger and better summit than ever. And guys, we are committing to you more webinars every single month, all the way up until live summit.
Whew, wow, we were pretty good on timing, actually. We got through everything that we were supposed to, 3 minutes over. So that's awesome. So that was the first session of the day, guys. I think that was a great way to start things off. We have about a 30-minute break here, and then at 11 o'clock, we have breakouts. Emily, if you're there, can you throw up the slide that gives everyone the information for, how to register for the breakouts?
Yep, I'll do that right now.
Okay, fantastic. So, let's all take a quick